Thank you once again, viewers. Was that not an awesome, awesome snack? That was beautiful. So, thank you once again for joining us for the Leading Edge Impact Youth Forum. This is presented to you by Coaches of Influence Foundation, a youth and women's organization headquartered in the United States, and Global Youth Leaders Network, a youth organization headquartered in South Africa. Listen, we are waist deep in the conversation, and each speaker has fed us with some quality food. Would you say that? If you believe you have been fed with quality food so far, go ahead and give us thumbs up, give us hearts. Go ahead and let us know what you are getting from your end. Let us know what you're receiving. Let us know how much value this platform, this table dialogue is adding to you today. And the conversation continues. And don't forget, our topic is effective youth participation in economic growth. And the topic is derived from the UN Sustainable Development Goal number 8, which zeroes in on decent work and economic growth. Our next speaker is from the continent of the Americas, and one who is very qualified to speak about immigration and migration. Hello, Valentine. Valentine, you're on mute.
Hello, how are we doing today?
We're doing great. Thank you, Valentine, and welcome to the table of dialogue.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Valentine, you are from a multicultural family, and you currently work for a local NGO serving youth in different continents and countries in many areas, including diplomacy and protocol training, among many other programs that are offered. And through the NGO you represent, you have the opportunity to interact and dialogue with members of Congress, ambassadors of different nations, and many key decision makers. So, Valentine, this is not the first table that you are invited to. You have been at many tables, and you are constantly at tables speaking on behalf of youth because you're a youth advocate and taking education to places where it would not have reached. And Valentine, you know what? The truth is that your biography includes so much more than time would permit me to even share. So all I want to say is I welcome you to Leading Edge Impact Forum, the table of dialogue.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say that I come from a multicultural family background. For example, my mom is Mexican from my home state of Puebla in Mexico, and I currently reside in the States, in New York, working as a youth representative for civil society through Man Up campaign, who does gender equality, gender equity, and gender representation. First of all, we need to ensure that youth and women, mostly women, are represented on the table. 50-50%, because as you may know, in certain countries, for example, Germany, New Zealand, and Iceland, with qualified women on the table, have represented stability and great leadership skills in the global international sector. First of all, I come from, again, from a multicultural background. My mom is Mexican. My dad is Black American from Puerto Rico. And through that multicultural setting, I am always adapted to cultural adaptability, being adaptable, cultural education, cultural integration, and cultural multilateral. So this is what it has gone up for me to be more, as you may say, qualified in the international diplomacy. Um, right now, I'm currently a student as well in Lehman College, CUNY City University of New York in the Bronx. Um, my parents immigrated from Mexico, my mom especially, to migrate. She came to the States as a young person from 20 and met my dad, Francisco Castillo. But also, the opportunities are very limited in developing countries. We have to take that into account. For example, this is from the UN studies. In 2013, young migrants ages from 15 to 24, part of that. 12% of the total migration population, which is made up of 28.2 million people or international migrants, 10.2% of developed countries come to like the US, the UK, and other major developing countries to seek out for opportunity at best. And also, we can also explain of these individuals that are successful. You may see them or know them or have heard of them. Natalie Portman from Israel, Arnold Schwarzenegger from Austria, Sergey Brin from Russia, um, Albert Einstein from Germany, of course. He's very scholar. Penelope Cruz from Spain, Bruce Willis from Germany, Audrey Hepburn from Belgium, Cesar Millan from Mexico, Liam Neeson from Northern Ireland. We have successful people from developing countries or from other countries to seek out our better opportunities in other countries like the US and Canada. And we also have to take into account um, that in developed countries, women and girls constitute 48.9% of adolescent and youth migration that we lose in these developing countries that can make up or even extend a better developing infrastructure in these developed countries. So we have to take that into account. So there are various experiences that people can seek out. For example, you need better education as acting, you need more qualified opportunities in your own community. You can seek them at that moment. It depends on the administration, it depends on what we need to do, but there are others who are willing to stay in these developing countries or successful countries. For example, these are the people that I currently know and work with collaboratively. There's Pooja Shukla from Singapore. She had created the Cosmos International Network, an NGO that wants to collaborate and expand qualified educational structures, resources, and public frameworks for other youth in other countries to collaborate and extend that hand of youth leadership engagement. There's also Yahir Arellano from Juventudes for Mexico that created his own NGO with collaborations from all the states of the Republic of Mexico, within the Republic. Sorry. Um, he extends even collaborations with other youth outside of Mexico. These are just a couple of examples that we need to extend hands and share knowledge and expand capacities,
Yes, yes.
no matter what.
Yes, and we have a lot of important information that you are going to share. So let's dive into the conversation. You will be sharing some knowledge on how unemployment drives immigration and migration, how unemployment can drive immigration, and how migration drives unemployment. So now we are dealing with this is a double-edged sword. We are talking about immigration and talking about migration. So on one hand, unemployment can drive immigration, and on the other hand, migration can drive unemployment. And both of these have a significant effect on the economy of any country. So, Valentine, you travel across countries and continents. What have you seen regarding migration of youth from one area to another?
Yes, for example, I live currently, as you may know, in the United States. For example, there are in immigration populations in the U.S. This is just for the U.S. alone. It makes up 44.73% million people. That's for 2018. Um, and unauthorized immigration population, it makes up of 12.12% for 2014. These are
Mhm.
people who are filling up jobs in the states, especially in America. People who are willing to dive in and bring economic growth and economic sustainability and from one country to the other. As you may be aware, youth themselves are ambassadors of from developing countries to bring culture or
Mhm.
multiculturalism, as I know it depends on various people who want to convey what it represents.
Mhm.
Economic adaptability, adaptation, migration adaptation, and advocates of agents for change. These are
Mhm.
youth who are willing to work and increase the workforce in the states. So And people who are given visas for this in this is in the United States alone. 8.74 million people who have been given visa r- grants or visa permission to work in the states for 2019 alone. So we need to ensure that when people come into the states, they're willing to work, they're willing to be agents of change within the states and the society that they represent. They bring economic adaptability, adapting themselves to the culture and learning what it is to be different or be adaptable to the community, and bring advocacy, change, and money, not just for themselves, economic for sustainability, as well as in the developing countries. They bring gross money into the developing countries. We have to ensure that, because not only they're bringing economic growth in their community in the developing country of origin, they're bringing sustainability. So that's what makes part of the GDP increasingly amazing. So we can see, oh, these people are not relevant to us. They should go back or whatsoever. No, they bring money and growth in the GDP economic sector for migration. We have to understand that many youth, even in intergenerational dialogues and talks, many people will tell you, youth make the future of tomorrow. So, for example, I follow Queen Mother Dr. Louise Blakely. I'm mentored by Her Excellency Dr. Amina Ali. Like, these women are amazing. They bring you knowledge of great wealth, great knowledge of cultures. So this is where I myself am the agent of change as well, not just myself, other youth as well.
Thank
That
you. Thank you,
yeah.
Valentine. Thank you so much, Valentine. That is such valuable information. And Valentine, you and I know, and you know this more than I do. I may know a little bit, but you know more. That sometimes this migration involves the most talented and the most skilled population from one country or an area moving to another area. This is something that's worth discussing. It's something that we need to keep in mind if we're discussing sustainable development goals, and we hope to accomplish them by in this decade by 2030. Then we need to consider all things considered. We need to bring all issues, everything on the table, and dialogue about it, so nations and individuals can know how to navigate and how to push forward for success. So you know that the most talented, the most skilled. Myself, I am an immigrant from Africa to the United States, and everything that I carry, I brought here from there. So there are so many skilled people and talented people that leave one area and migrate to another. How does this movement affect youth employment and the economy?
So, for example, there are youth that leave from their developed country or or community that can be the next president, can be the next prime minister, can be the next agent of change for making the country even better. They move to the states, or they move to better equipped countries. Like I mentioned before, there's Natalie Portman from Israel that really strives to become a better actress or promote herself to be a better representative in the movie industry. As you may know, she did the movie of Wonder Woman, and trust me, with her background, that facilitated that door for her to be super famous in Hollywood. That is very rare. It does not happen every single day. So we also have Arnold Schwarzenegger, who became an icon in the movie industry in Hollywood. There's also um, Albert Einstein, a great scholar for the scientific community that came to the States after the Holocaust, after World War II. I mean, people are willing to change, and those people that left their countries, regardless if they're a developed country or not, or a better country, they seek out better opportunities, better enhancement of what they can bring to the table. They didn't just come in and they know these things. They were educated and brought up by these um, environments that they were in through the educational and dra- um in media of the arts. So we have to know
Mhm.
what's sustainable for everyone. We also have to make sure we have the strong faith either to do this or we make it happen. We don't seek these opportunities, we create these opportunities. We have to make sure we represent and we are engaged in our own community to bring back what we can return and guarantee that we're concrete proof of success.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you, Valentine. Up until you and I had the dialogue a few days ago, I think it was more than a week ago, I had not even thought about movie stars. I had not even thought about professional musicians that are in the US or other countries that are not originally from those places. And that is talent, that is skill that has left one place and has traveled to another place. So we are having this conversation because we are talking to leaders of nations and we are saying, why allow our young people to die in the waters in search of a better life? Why allow our young talent to leave the countries in search of a better life because there are no jobs, because there are no opportunities, because the programs are the programs are mismanaged, and the income that's coming in, the projects, they are hoarded by a certain number of people, and they're only inviting their own family members and their crew and their clan. And this is affecting other young people who are in other areas and are not exposed to this opportunity. They are leaving. Leaders of nations, you are listening to me right now. Politicians, you are connected, you are logged in. Listen to me. This should be in your manifesto. What can we do to maintain the talent in our country, in our continent, so we can impact the economy? So we don't have to always beg for money somewhere else, because there is talent, enough talent in every country, in every society, in every nation, in every continent. There is enough talent to bring that economy in. There is enough talent. Oh my goodness, there is enough talent. Open up the industries, the movie industry. How many countries have it? We cannot all depend on coming to Hollywood. It is great, but then that's great talent leaving your shores and contributing elsewhere. So, Valentine, let's continue on. You will agree with me that the UN is just a conduit. They are just a vehicle to effect the SDGs. However, the reason I'm talking to leaders of nations, because they have a responsibility. Leaders of nations, citizens of nations, anybody with a voice in any nation, anybody with a position, a title in any nation, anybody who wears a crown in any nation, anybody who has money and resources and connections and network in any nation. Everyone has a responsibility, and this responsibility is to preserve, to take action that will help them preserve the talent, the skills, and the values of their young population. So Valentine, in your view, what type of programs should leaders implement to protect the economies of their countries?
Yes. I would like to add before we add this information. I just want to make sure that Alexandria Ocasio Cortez is the youngest representative in Congress for District 14 for the New York, for the Bronx and Queens, and I was delighted to meet her. And she's young and she has a vast wealth of experience. And when it comes related to that, there are organizations we just have to research online. Everything is online. It's not like it was previous informations where everything was on paper. We have to seek out these specific people to volunteer or do an internship or get as the UN Youth Envoy represented officially that some internships will be paid in the next coming or is it presently there in depending on the country, depending on your country of origin, there for example, there is embassies that promote educational leadership for youth in various communities, even indigenous communities who need to be represented. There are structures, and they even paid for sponsorships to travel to international organizations to speak, to learn, to educate themselves, to advocate for themselves, and know what relevant information is out there. We also have to ensure that youth are able to be represented on the table, and they're doing that little by little. But how far are we going to keep waiting if we search for these communities who don't have the representation that they need? As you mentioned, yes, there are ambassadors and there are officials of state members who have other situations to deal with, but they also keep in mind youth. They're just waiting for youth to be there, to be represented, so they can showcase their work, their leadership, their advocacy, their skills that are gifted, polyglots who are hidden, that work in business, that work in education, that work in other various sectors. We also have to take into account that by 2050, this is just for the continent of Africa alone, more than 28 million youth will be in between the ages of 14 and 29. And that's a vast wealth of youth that can advocate for the continent of Africa alone. We need to ensure that we bring these resources and these resources to raise capable leaders of tomorrow so that they can bring developed countries to become superpowers. So we need to make sure that we seek out these online informations, and most of these educational accreditations are free. Like, I'm gonna go there and get stuff for free because it's online. But we also have to take into account that rural communities and rural sectors don't have I- internet infrastructures to engage in these free educational courses. So we have to bring and raise capable youth to know what it means to bring free education in the international and local levels. So that's why we want to travel, invest in youth, and reinvest in these organizations. So that's what I myself for one am doing that. I'm not just doing the talk, I'm doing the walk. So that's what I'm doing, showcasing the leaderships in various different countries, in Nigeria, in Tanzania. Uh, I also would like to do more engagement with youth representation in the Gambia, which personally I feel very close connected to, Ghana, and other parts of everywhere around the world globally.
Thank you so much, Valentine. I hope that young people, you are listening. I hope that leaders of nations, especially, I hope that leaders of organizations, listen, all the young people that are out there starting entrepreneurship business, starting organizations, we are so proud of you. However, what we are saying is do seek a solid vision, because the purpose here is this: every organization must have a solid vision to bring a solution. Every organization must be able to prepare youth and equip them to be able to sit at the table and advocate for themselves. Valentine just shared with us what will happen by 2050. And we have to prepare African youth, not only give them money and fund them to start initiatives, but empowering them with education, empowering them with relevant skills training. So when they are drawn and called to the table of dialogue, they are representing the continent. They are aware of issues. They understand how to dialogue about issues. They understand where the solution lies and exactly what needs to be done to bring that solution to the nation or to the continent. And I'm telling you, young people, we need to be prepared. Yeah, train yourself, get educated, get connected. Valentine shared about the free resources that are available. Don't sit around in your house. I meet quiet too many young people just crying, complaining, and whining about what they have not been offered. I mean, preparedness will attract opportunity. I say that again, preparedness will attract opportunity. If you are prepared, if you guard your waist, if you have a wealth of knowledge, if you are a river of knowledge, you become fluid, you become attractive, you will be invited, you will have to seek for opportunities, opportunities will come looking for you. So we want you to be positioned. Immigration and migration, we can manage this thing, because if you have the skill, don't wait to go to another country to discover that you are skilled in acting or you are skilled in writing. Practice it where you are right now, because the resources are available. And by the time you leave your country, you would have discovered what you carry, and you would have understood, I am going there for such a time, for this period of time, and I am coming back. And when I come back, this is exactly what I'll be bringing back to my people, to my continent, to my community. Young people, I hope you are listening. This is Leading Edge Impact Youth Forum, the table of dialogue. This is where we break big ideas into smaller pieces so everybody can understand, everybody can participate, everybody can walk away with a nugget or two. Valentine Camano, We thank you so much for joining us in this dialogue today. And we thank you for the valuable knowledge you shared with all of us. Valentine, continue to travel, continue to go to those communities where a lot of us cannot go, and continue to teach our young people protocol. Continue to teach them diplomacy. Our people, young people, need to be prepared in order for you to attract the opportunities you are thinking about in your head. You have to be prepared for them, because when you come to a platform, you want to deliver. You want to liberate people. You want to speak in a way that people are set free. And that cannot happen because if you are not equipped, because what you carry, young people, is what you give. So feed yourself, prepare yourself, arm yourself, so wherever you go, you become a person of impact, a person of influence, like Valentine over here. Valentine, we thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you all the best of luck in your journey. And we hope that you'll be able to join us another time. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.